all girls who aspire to sing were definitely influenced by Whitney Houston, and that's something that nobody can deny.
By Alicia Keys, 12-time Grammy winner, who says that Whitney Houston was her idol and her inspiration. Singer, songwriter, superstar Alicia Keys says she grew up listening to Whitney Houston.
I wonder what the first song I ever heard, maybe I Want to Dance with Somebody might have been. You know what I remember even more than her voice, which obviously her voice trumps all, is the first time I saw her face. With somebody who loves me. And it was that beautiful album when her hair was just totally back and it was just her face and it was like orange and it was so stunning. But she just looked as someone that you wanted to know, someone that you wanted to hear, someone that you wanted to listen to.
I Want to Dance with Somebody. She was the first person that I'd seen on TV. She had a red dress on and she was singing. I said, Mom, I want to be like Whitney Houston. What little girl didn't?
She really was the one that inspired me to take voice lessons because I was like, I want to sing like that.
She's been like the most incredible vocalist to me.
And says singing the tribute to Whitney was like winning the lottery.
I heard she actually asked for me, which was completely incredible to me, being a huge fan of hers.
And Whitney was my major vocal inspiration when I was young. I used to listen to her version of the Star Spangled Banner over and over again. She has an angel in her throat, and I promised myself that the first time I won a Grammy on television that I would thank Whitney. So I won 2 Grammys last year, but it wasn't televised. So this year I remembered when I was up there, I said, you gotta thank her.
A question about the Grammys, just to go back to it for a second. I noticed you start to thank Whitney Houston, and I didn't get the end because they started the music. Can you tell us what you were talking about and elaborate?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how much I listened to her growing up. She was my vocal idol for so many years, and I don't know, I thought of her voice when I wrote it because she's just such an incredible singer, and I don't know, I sort of planned to thank her a long time ago at some point. I said, if I ever win a Grammy, I'm going to thank Whitney for all those times when I was a kid at home, thanking her, singing her music. I got
and she's like, okay, baby, all right. And when I saw Whitney Houston do it, I was so inspired. I just thought that was so cool, and she did such a great job, and you could feel her emotions, and it was just so huge. And I said, one day, I'm
all agreed Whitney was the perfect choice for the honor.
We definitely look up to her. We always wanted to be like Whitney or be the little girl in the video in The Greatest Love of All. And then even up I'm Your Baby Tonight. I mean, all those videos, those were the days.
That's where I met Kelly singing that song. I'm Your Baby Tonight.
Yeah.
The children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way.
Whitney Houston was like probably the ultimate artist that influenced me most. I started singing probably Greatest Love of All when I was 11 years old in school and stuff like that. It's the song, it's the lyrics, it's very meaningful and self-empowering. And Whitney Houston, and that voice behind it. When she came out with I Will Always Love You, I would create a duet between her and I. Like if you hear her recording singing it, then you hear my voice singing the top harmony note over it, and it's like, to me that was Jennifer Hudson and Whitney Houston's duet around the house.
This next group of songs is actually a lot of my influences. These are older songs, ones you know, okay? This one right here, this is Miss Whitney Houston, and this is called How Will I Know? How Will I Know?
When I was about 5 or 6 years old, I heard a song called The Greatest Love of All, and I heard it from this voice that was like the voice of an angel, but it was so powerful. And I was a very awkward child, and I was very uncomfortable around people. But when I heard this woman sing Whitney Houston, I felt just like I'd found my home. I felt very comfortable in my skin. So Whitney Houston was the woman who actually inspired me to sing and to find my own voice, because I connected so much with hers and the message she always had through her singing and her songs and how she sang and performed. She's just an unbelievable, powerful performer. It's funny because 10 years ago, I got my start on a pop realities talent search series called Pop Stars in the US, and the song that I auditioned with was Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You.
It will always be a part of my life. So.
Who are some of your influences?
Probably Whitney Houston, of course, and Brandy's album is like incredible.
The most powerful females that have influenced me through the years have been Madonna, Whitney Houston. I love Barbra Streisand. I think she is very theatrical, and I love the way she speaks.
You know, Whitney had a major impact on my career, but she had a major impact on my life at 19 years old.
Hey, I'm Nelly Furtado, and my Divas playlist pick is by Whitney Houston. The song is called Shoop Shoop from the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack. Whitney Houston is a big influence for me in my music, and Whitney, I loved when she started acting in that phase of her career when she did the Bodyguard movie, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, and also Waiting to Exhale, which is another one of my favorite movies of all time. So she's in two of my favorite movies ever. And she did a great job, and every movie came along with this awesome soundtrack full of brand new Whitney songs, especially The Bodyguard. That soundtrack is just killer. Every song's amazing. She sounds incredible. She just sings with real beauty and this essence that comes out in her voice. So that's why I think she's fantastic, and that's why I chose this song.
Whitney Houston, Dance With Somebody. It is my epic karaoke song. It is the song that anytime I do karaoke, that's the one I choose.
Yeah.
Whitney was just, in the 90s, it was like me growing up, that's who I looked up to. She was the person that made me want to be a singer.
Brandy has been a longtime fan of Whitney's, and it was the superstar who inspired her when she was just a little girl in Macomb, Mississippi, singing in her father's church.
I told my dad that I wanted to do this for a living. I wanted to be like Whitney Houston.
She has often called me her mentor, which is flattering.
I worshipped her as a child. She's the reason why I started to dream about my own career, and this woman is just amazing.
Whitney Houston, love her. Those are the women I wanted to be like when I became a performer.
As an artist, if I'm working with Whitney Houston, she's obviously someone that I listen to, you know, and who influenced me, and who's a great singer. And just having that opportunity to go back and forth and sing with her was a really, really cool thing as well.
You know, I grew up listening to you, and everything you sang inspired me. Your music really touched me deeply. I'm so happy that you're back. It's been way too long, and we've missed you a lot. I love you so very much.
I want to thank you for being my inspiration year after year. Love you, Whitney.
I love you. Bye.
You know, every artist that I've worked with since working with Whitney, and I'll talk about that in a minute, are all inspired and touched by Whitney's presence, her voice, and what she's accomplished in this industry. It's huge.